Hello everyone, Michael the Mechanical here, again with another video. Today is Saturday, I think it's 25th today. My tool's still here, I've got the engine still out, haven't done nothing with it. And surprise, surprise, this is still apart and it's actually going back together at the moment. Now, the reason we did pull this apart is because my dad said he wanted it painted, and if I touch it, touch the paint, he's going to be mad at me. So I didn't touch the paint, I did exactly what he wanted to do. One of the things I'd like to point out is, if it's your project, tell someone you want them to do it properly. No half-assing it, because my dad's good at half-assing things and he won't admit to his mistakes. He hates admitting to his mistakes. He does not take accountability for his muck-ups. So what I'm going to point out to you today is this block, as well as his, but I can't show you much of his. So one of the things he did when he painted his block, like I painted this one, but as you can see it's all chipping away, but this is a surface that doesn't matter, it's going to clean. This is a problem here, chip, chip, chip. The problem was he painted everything, including this face here. So any of your seals and stuff, most of them right now have paint underneath them, and the reason I did what my dad said is because his project, he's paying for it, and I knew it was wrong, but I didn't want to be getting growled at and having someone yelling and screaming at me, and not to mention, it's my hard work, so if something goes wrong, I'm going to be mad at him for telling me how to do it. My time, I'm not getting paid anything. He also has the sump here painted as well, so we had a look, and there's like a leak there, but we're not sure whether it's oil or if it was coolant. Now, the water pump seal completely let go, and it let go completely, is what I'm trying to say. It wasn't just, a little bit. It was everywhere. Water went everywhere. We've ended up putting brand new bolts on the water pump because these ones are actually stretched and are stretching at the ends, and we kept putting 24 Newton meters on them, but I remember now when I put that pump on, I couldn't get them to 24 without feeling something going wrong. So I backed them off and I went to 18. That seemed ideal at the time. The bolts are actually maximum 14 Newton meters, so I was 4 Newton meters over torquing them anyway, which was incorrect as well. But it still completely let go at the torque specification of 18. So with 18 Newton meters of torque on each of those bolts, that can seal completely let it go. And here's the backing plate that's been probably ground up, and it's clean. There's the gasket, and there's all the goopy stuff, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it's called. I wonder where the rest of the pump is. If I find it, here it is. Here's the pump. This is a Repco pump, and you can see it says Repco right there. It's not a great pump. There might still be, if he hasn't cleaned it, there's a bit of crystallization there, crystallization there. You can sort of see it on the edges, like that red stuff. That red stuff is the crystallization, but it completely let go around the whole thing at over-torqued specs. And there's some in the bolt holes. It's not pretty. And to have to do this job again, it's a frustrating thing. I will literally be honest, I was swearing and cursing putting it all back together again, because the way I put it together requires a long screwdriver, and every time I put that screwdriver in, I'd always hit the radiator. Now, I did use a shorter screwdriver that flexed like a lot, but it did touch the radiator just slightly, so it might have bent some of the fins, unfortunately, on the radiator. Roughly here, those are the fins I believe that it bent. I could be wrong, and maybe those were already bent, but I'm pretty sure that was all straightened up and work was done correctly to that. Next up, I actually found a new issue, and it might be that I made a mistake on this motor and I didn't ever realize it. When it was running, there was an idle range in which this thing felt way too rough. It ran too rough and I didn't like it. I didn't know if it was because my opinion was, hey, it's probably the top end that's causing this vibration, this thing where the whole car is like shaking crazily. Today it turned out to be potentially a balance shaft belt, and all the timing was all over the place. Now, I've just only put it in line now, and the reason I'm making this video is because if that timing goes out again, That's something that won't make sense to me, because I've turned the motor over a couple of times checking it, because I thought, I'm here, I'm checking that balance shaft belt anyway. I have no reason to, because I probably put it on properly the first time, and I remember how I did it. But this time around, I've had the light out, and I've checked, and I want to see if I can show you guys anything at all. This is going to be really tricky to get in there and see if you can see anything. So the timing mark should all be aligned. There's one up here. Timing mark, I don't know whether you can see it or not. No, you can't. But timing gear, I don't know if you can see the timing mark. There's the timing mark. Okay, it's over here. I have to go up. Where is that light meant to be hiding? Okay, there we go. Ooh. So hard to see, but that's in line. Trust me on that one there. That one's in line. Crankshaft is already on the timing mark. You can see that. So hard to tell what you guys can see. That one's about aligned as I'm going to get it. I can't tell what you guys can actually see. I've got to look at the backing plate. I don't know if you can see it or not. Timing mark. It's where the belt is over here. Oh, because the camera's on the wrong side. Right. So there's the timing mark there. There's the groove. And there's here, this one here. Which if I can see it, you can see it's aligned. So now you guys have seen that. If I got this the right way around. Now you guys have seen the timing marks there are aligned. So if those timing marks in the future go out, there's something to be concerned about there. Something is going wrong, and I won't know why or what's causing that issue. It shouldn't, because the belts don't only partially go on it, they go almost completely around both the gears, and they sort of line up to the crank. But if the belt timing from gear to gear is different, there's something weird going on. And the teeth are not damaged. The teeth are not broken in any way, shape or form. And I knew what I was looking for. The belt is perfect. So, my opinion is, I actually misinstalled that belt. I didn't do it correctly. Something felt wrong, and because I'm familiar with the engine, I knew something was wrong. I didn't know this was the case, but I would have gotten it wrong. And I would have stuffed up in the case where this was actually on the road, and if something went wrong with it, I wouldn't have known, because I didn't know that I installed it incorrectly. And I was looking for damage similar to this belt. As I said, my injection pump let go in another video, and that's why that is here now. Also, this needs a lot of cleaning still, because there's all this crud still in the pipe for the motor. But I'm more focused on this at the moment, because now this Pajero is insured, it's registered, and it's drivable, essentially. Oh, not right this second. We have to do the coolant again, and then this thing can go out on the road and we can drive it. But the thing is, it's going to get new tyres today or tomorrow for the spare, and the road tyres here on the rear. The front ones are okay. They're highway terrain tyres. Terrain tyres. These are like brand new, but when we go to the tyre place, we're going to let them check the tyres. We're not going to tell them the age, because if we tell them the age, we can say, nah, you should replace them. But if they check the tyres, like, we'll just say we don't know what the age of them is. Or just say, we got them about a year ago, the second hand, something like that. So then they can tell us whether those tyres are suitable for the road or not. They got to tell us that they're hard. I don't believe these are hard, because when you put your nail into it, they sort of flexible. See how it's sort of still stretchy and flexing? So that's how I know that these tyres, I believe that these tyres will be okay. Now, another thing I can probably do is get something, see if there's any friction between the tyre and like a frictious surface. But this is a bad example, because it's probably got a little bit of oil on it. But you can test it with, because you know what happens when you're in the kitchen, you have that piece of rubber, and you go with, you try to grab a can and something, and it's trying to grip it. That doesn't even feel like it's trying to grip, but it's also dusty. Let's see, because these tyres are pretty close to new. I want to see if this even grips. So, as I can tell, there's a bit more there's a bit more grip in that. There's a bit of grip in that tyre. I think, like, this tyre here, yeah, I would say that these tyres are probably not that great. That doesn't feel like it's got grip at all in it. So I'd say that those tyres still have grip, but they're terrible tyres. I would say that these tyres, if they were to check them and tell us they're okay, I think they'd be wrong, because they do not feel like they have much grip to that bolt. That is a reasonable test, because I can feel the grip in these. Even though these are worn out, these are actually newer than these tyres here, which have lots of tread, okay? Age difference. Those tyres have done a lot of work. They are shitty gripping tyres, but they feel like they have more grip than these tyres. I reckon that these tyres are probably a little bit hard to grip perfectly, and the reason being is when I put that bolt on there, when you do see it gripping, it's actually because the edge of the bolt's going in some of the gaps, and I'm trying to do it across a surface area. So if I had something smooth with no catchy marks on it, and I could rub it and I could feel some friction there, that's ideally what you want to feel. You want to feel friction in the tyre, because it's like those I forgot what those rubber mats are called. Those rubber squares that you buy, and they help you open jars. You put one on the jar, you put one on the lid, and then you crack it, because your hand, when you try to grip it with one hand and then you grab the lid of the other and you try to crack it, you slip off. And the rubbers, it looks similar. They're like this same color. They have that same sort of texture to it, and you're just using the grab. And it should feel something like those. Your tires should grip something like they would. That's the idea behind the test that I just did. It's not, an actual test they probably do in reality. I have no idea what tests they actually do. No one taught me that. I just have that understanding because I've rubbed things with rubber before, and that's sort of how you get an idea. You rub something against the rubber, and it tells you whether it's too hard, too soft, and you get an idea if they're any good or not. And that's the sense of the word that I'm coming from. I could be wrong. Those tyres could be fine. But those tyres are about 5+ years old. Those tyres are about 3 years old, if not a little less than that, maybe. I got them in 2017. Those tyres I got in 2017. These front tyres were 2014, 2015-ish. That's when they were put on this vehicle, so they're a little bit old. But there's also good chance that they should still be okay. But they've been out in the weather for a long time. They haven't been used for a long time. I don't know. I'll let the tyre company decide on the fate of those tyres, because they're the ones who are the people who are meant to do safety checks. But anyway, I'm just here to take accountability for my mistake. I put the timing belt probably on wrong. But there is a possibility that if the timing belt is out again, next time we have to check it, or if the car runs rough and we check the timing again, if we do check the timing again and the balance shaft belt is out, then there's got to be something wrong in that system, and I won't know what it is until you check everything in fine detail, like checking all the gears are the correct gears, making sure that the big timing sprocket for the balance shaft is correct, making sure the tension is tensioned correctly, making sure there's no slack, or I've forgotten what the thing is called. Deflection is correct. The deflection feels about right. Yeah, there's a lot of fine details you have to go through when you check. But also making sure that if you turn the motor over a couple times that it all lines up. If it doesn't line up ever, then you've got a serious problem on your hands. That's not good. And anyway, I feel like that's perfectly reasonable for now. I'm going to leave this at this for the video. I'm going to get going and finish off what I can finish, put it back together again, check all my bolts before I put it back together again, obviously. Check all my bolts. Start putting it back together, checking those tensions are correct, and put it together, the old timing cover. And I wanted to put this one on, but as you can see, there is slight difference here to here, here to here, and this one has a recess in it. So if I put the wrong cover on, it's just going to rub on something, and we don't want that happening. So we'll put the original back on there for now, and when it breaks, it breaks. I can't do much about this. I could build it up, but if it's going to cut and rub, then there's nothing I can do to change that, unfortunately. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining in. I'm Michael Mechanical. I'm going to sign off and get this done and get this on the road by tomorrow, hopefully. Take care, everyone. Bye.